Hello, my beautiful brothers and sisters. Today I wanted to talk about something really important, and that is share with you an exercise that I found very helpful, not only for myself, but other people that I have worked with, that helps shift some of the negativity or trauma or negative based experiences that you may have experienced in childhood. Now, it has been joked around before, the expression of if you've had parents and you've had teachers, then there's some sort of upheaval or trauma that you must get over. And that's just the human experience. Now, some are going to have more adverse childhoods, some a little less, but everybody has something within themselves that they are transforming. Now, the idea is that we come to the earth, we come into physical reality so that we can transform darkness into light. In other words, we can have an experience, it may be perceived as negative, and then take that experience and then elevate ourselves through and with that experience to become an even better version of ourselves. Some of us find that a little bit difficult, others not so much, but I wanted to share with you a really powerful exercise that I have done for myself. In fact, I did it again today, but I've also been sharing with a few of you. So I wanted to run you through it, and then in your own time, put some beautiful healing music on, or some light, gentle music with no lyrics, no words, and then just sort of sit down and run through this as many times as possible, or as many times as needed. Now, some can only just do it once, and it really helps shift. I'm going to tell you what it is. So basically, what I want you to do is sit down in an upright position, not in a laying down position, in an upright position. If it helps, dim the lights, make sure you're alone, get some beautiful music on, close your eyes, and imagine a really giant warehouse. Now, this warehouse is the size that can be conceived of as a hangar, so an airplane hangar, so it can fit in an entire airplane. So this is a really big warehouse. I want you to imagine in the middle of this warehouse a chair, and sitting in that chair is the 6-year-old you. Now, if you're more drawn to a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old version of yourself, go with whatever age is instinctive, but a young version of yourself. And when you're imagining this with your eyes closed and the music playing, I want you to view that 6-year-old version of you from the door of the warehouse. So you are literally standing at the door of the warehouse and you're observing the 6-year-old version of you. Now, the 6-year-old you is just sitting there peacefully. Perhaps they're swinging their legs in the chair because their feet can't quite touch the ground. And I want you to think, what are the feelings that I'm feeling as I'm observing the 6-year-old version of me? Am I feeling love? Am I feeling sadness? Am I feeling confusion? Identify those feelings. All feelings are relevant. Once you identify the feelings, I want you to slowly approach the 6-year-old you and let them know, I am you from the future, and I've come here to tell you a few things. And then proceed to let the 6-year-old version of you hear whatever it is you are drawn to tell them. Tell them all the things that you think that they would like to hear about themselves at that age. What did you want to hear when you were 6? You're really smart. I love you, and so many people love you. What are the things you want to explain to them? Mum and Dad are behaving like this for this reason. Talk to them. Tell them all the things that you think are beneficial for them to know. Once you have done that, once you have spoken to the 6-year-old version of yourself, I want you to imagine that in one corner of this giant warehouse is a chair. And on that chair is a father figure, whichever father figure you had growing up. Now, if you were not aware of your father and yet you had an uncle or a stepfather, place them in that chair. If you had an absent father but you were aware of who they are, place them in that chair. And I want you to take the 6-year-old version of you, and that 6-year-old version of you is walking behind you, and I want you to reach out to your father figure. And I want you to tell your father figure everything the 6-year-old version of you wants them to know. The 6-year-old version of you that may not be able to articulate these things. Let your father figure know everything that your 6-year-old version of you wants to know. And when you're picturing your father figure, I want you to imagine them listening, attentive, really willing to participate in the exercise, so much so that it feels like at the back of their mind they might even be taking notes. So really imagine that that father figure that you've got sitting in that chair is really paying attention. Now, you may like to stop there, or you may like to keep going. I want you to imagine now that in another corner of this giant warehouse is your mother figure. It could be your mother, it could be an older sister, or someone else you identified as your mother. If you had an absent mother, but you still knew or were aware of who they were, I want you to place that person in the chair. And I want you to take the 6-year-old version of you and do the same thing that you did with your father. Take your time. Express everything that comes to you in that moment, knowing that nothing is wrong. Now, as you know, there are another 2 corners to that warehouse. You can either choose to stop at mum or dad, or if there is another adult figure or influential person during that age that you think that 6-year-old version of you needs to talk to, I want you to place them there. And go ahead and explain all the things that you need for that person to know. Now, what will be happening is actually quite powerful. Now, I want you to think of it a little bit like this. Time is a human concept. Time does not actually exist. And I want you to think of it like this. We have what we have come to term the Big Bang. So there was this Big Bang. And I want you to recognize that in that Big Bang, everything happened all at once and has happened. And what we are experiencing as time is our consciousness shifting from one parallel dimension to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. Everything has all occurred. So what we are essentially doing is right now is we are shifting our now consciousness to another space-time reality, and we are literally talking to that 6-year-old version of ourselves. And the ripple effects are so big. Now, it won't change your history because you're still going from the history of now. However, what it will do is shift some of what that 6-year-old version of you is experiencing, understanding that there is no time and that there is a 6-year-old version of you out there experiencing all the things that that 6-year-old version of you experienced. So you are literally going back and in real time assisting them. But also, what's really important is you're simultaneously assisting your now. So what you will experience is the healing of those conversations, and it will shift you into the power seat, into the control seat, and you will get whatever it was that needed to be said. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, please put comments below. Or if you feel like it's a little bit more of a personal matter, happy for you to send me a private message. Everybody who's ever messaged me will tell you that I reply to everyone. I want you to give this exercise a try. Put on some beautiful music and look at loving yourself. I wish everyone a very beautiful day, and thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.